Call the meeting in order for the Village of Round Lake Beach. This is our board meeting for Monday, May 20, 2019. Please call the roll.
Mayor Husk, sorry. Trustee Husk. Trustee Valdez.
Here.
Trustee Wallace.
Here.
Trustee Stout. Trustee Nichols.
Here.
Trustee Cleveland.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Let the record show a quorum is present. Would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any corrections or additions, deletions to the agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Valdez.
Second.
Second by trustee Nichols. We have a motion to second. Any corrections, clarifications to the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda will remain as written. We have our council meeting minutes from April 15, 2019. Any corrections or clarification on those minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Cleveland, second by trustee Wallace. We have a motion to second. Want to get any questions, corrections, clarifications on the minutes? Again, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. We also have our special meeting minutes from May 6, 2019. Any questions or corrections on those? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Wallace. Second by trustee Stout. We have a motion to second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are also approved. We have expenditures this month of $1,228,849.65. Some of the larger items in there are Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency for our Lake Michigan water, just under $135,000. Our healthcare for our staff, about $128,500. Redevelopment agreement for Equities Associates, $375,000. There's a lot of other bills that were included in there. The staff all reviewed them. The trustees have had a chance to review them. And the trustees have any questions on any of those items in the bills? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Nichols.
Second.
Second by trustee Cleveland. We have again a motion to second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Stout. Yay. Trustee Nichols.
Yes.
Trustee Cleveland.
Yes.
Trustee Husk. Trustee Valdez. Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
That's approved. We have no ratifications tonight, so we'll move on to our standing committee reports. Any of the trustees have any reports tonight?
I do, Mayor. Couple things. One, I want to remind everybody when it comes to our recycling that I've talked to a few residents and people are starting to really get the gist of what should go in their recycling and what shouldn't go in the recycling, which for some has been quite different than what you've been told over the years. So just remember the biggest part is do not put in any plastic bags or anything that's got a stretchable plastic on it that'll get gummed up in the machines. So just don't put your recycling in a plastic bag to put it in the bin. Just put it all in your bin by itself and everything will be just fine. It's been getting better. I've heard from Swalco that it's getting better. So we're doing a good job. We just need to keep the word out there and make things a little bit better on it. Also, Swalco's having their third household chemical waste collection event of the year, Saturday, June 15th in Lake Zurich at the high school parking lot at 300 Church Street. Accepted materials are things such as aerosol products, antifreeze, motor oil, fertilizers, herbicides, fluorescent light bulbs, furniture strippers and varnishes, gasoline, household batteries, household cleaners, paints, oil-based paints, I should say, not water-based, or latex, oil-based paints, prescription and over-the-counter medicines and supplements. It's always nice to have these collections, so usually everybody's got stuff left over from the year before. These are by appointment, so you would need to call Swalco to set up an appointment for this, and but at least it gets the stuff out of your garages and homes. Always remember, recycle first, trash last. Also, Mayor, I just want to remind everybody to mark their calendars for Beach Fest. It's coming up in a little over a month, June 29th, 20th, 29th, and 30th. Lots of things going on, lots of entertainment, fantastic bands. We have our beer tent, food tents, food vendors, regular vendors. Great time for everybody. So come on out and mark your calendars for Beach Fest.
One of the biggest changes this year is the fireworks.
Yes.
Fireworks for the Round Lake Area Park District are actually going to be at Beach Fest. That's Saturday night, the 29th. And not on July 4th that they've been for many, many years now. So make sure you do mark your calendar so you don't miss it. Yeah, it'll be hard to miss it no matter where you are in town. You're going to see it from anywhere. So it's going to be a great night. Any other trustees? Okay. See, on the mayor's report tonight, first of all, Chief, I saw the Cop on Top was very successful again.
Yes, it was. It was very successful, probably our best year. Officer Wade was actually in charge of it, but it was probably our best year yet.
That's wonderful. Well, we appreciate all the officers out there up on top of the building, inside the building, collecting money for the Special Olympics. They did a great job, over $4,000, I believe, this year again. So that's
Right.
wonderful. That's great news. Thank you. And see, next item is the swearing in of the new officer. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. And again, once again, on Special Olympics, it was not just a great event, but it was a difficult time. And as I look out into the crowd right now and I see the officers that are here, obviously we had a very tragic incident that happened on Friday, and most of these officers actually responded to that scene. So I'd like to thank them for a job well done in taking care of that quickly and dealing with such a tragic event. Now I'd like to call Officer Tellez up. Officer Tellez is one of our newer officers who also was on the scene of that tragic event on Friday.
And Chief, if anyone in the family wants to take any pictures, feel free to step up behind the council up here, get some nice pictures if you want. You can come out and run the back. Sorry, Chief.
Officer Tellez is joined today by his parents, Martin and Rosa, and his brother, Kevin, who's going to the back to take pictures, and his girlfriend, Irma. Officer Tellez was born in Evanston, but has lived in the Round Lake area since the age of 8 years old. He served in the military, served in the Army, was a sergeant in the Army, deployed to Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom. He came to us by way of Meyer. He was working asset protection at Meyer. Our officers knew him when he came to take our test. He has a Bachelor of Arts from UIC in Chicago, so he comes to us very well trained, and we're very excited to have him, especially have someone from the local area joining our department. So if you can, please step up to the clerk. Officer Tellez.
Please raise your right hand. I, Jacinto Tellez,
I, Jacinto Tellez,
do solemnly swear that I will
do solemnly swear that I will
support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties of the office of
discharge the duties of the office of
police officer
police officer
according to the best
according to the best
of my ability,
of my abilities,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, welcome, Round Lake Beach. It's always nice to welcome new staff to the Village of Round Lake Beach. We have a lot of staff that have been here for many, many years, and we always need new ones to replace us that are retiring eventually. So that's all going to happen, and welcome to Round Lake Beach. We also have a proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Order of Demolay. We have our clerk please read that?
The 100th anniversary of the Order of Demolay. Whereas the Order of Demolay was charactered on April 1st, 1919, and is the character-building organization of young men from 12 to 21 years of age. And whereas under the membership of adults, these young men are taught to prepare themselves to become better citizens and better leaders for tomorrow through the use of a variety of self-directed, real-world applications and activities. As whereas Demolay helps develop young men of character into good men of all ages, and by teaching leadership skills, civic awareness, responsibility, and character development. And whereas the organization has carried out the aforementioned goals for 100 years through programs of athletic competition, social activity, civic service, and charitable projects. And whereas Del Malay International is currently celebrating its centennial celebration and will use this opportunity to advise citizens of their many activities and to recognize the millions of active and senior Del Malay members throughout the world. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Richard H. Hill, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2019 as Del Malay Month in the village of Round Lake Beach in celebration of their 100th anniversary, and urge all citizens to join me in saluting the young men of the Order of Del Malay and in expressing appreciation for the fine example set by them in contributing to the welfare of our community.
Thank you. We do have a local chapter right over in Lake Villa, and they are also celebrating this. They do include many residents from the village around Lake Beach. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Wallace,
Second.
second by trustee Stout. We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the proclamation is approved. Is there a clerk's report tonight? Any report?
No, there's not.
Okay. We'll move right on our items of business then. We have item A, is an ordinance rezoning certain property, granting a special use permit with certain variances and departures regarding property at 1011 City Lake Road. This is Dave's Transmission. It's a thriving business down in the corner of City Lake Road and Beachview. In order to improve the business, he bought property around his current business to expand mostly the parking there. Because it's also an automotive use, it does need a special use permit to expand. The Plan Commission reviewed the plan and unanimously recommended approval of the project. I don't believe the petitioner is here tonight. Chris, could you maybe give us a quick overview?
Sure. The applicant is purchasing the lot to the north. Was an existing residential structure. It is Zone C3. They are tearing down, or I believe they did tear down that existing structure, and they are they're going to keep the garage for storage purposes. And then they're also purchased the vacant lot directly to the east of the existing building. That's the property that is zoned R3 that does require the rezoning to the C3. So they're looking to expand their parking lot into those two lots to better store the vehicles that are on the property.
Thank you. So the Plan Commission reviewed this, gave it a recommendation of 6-0. I did have a couple of questions on a few of the, or a couple of concerns on some of the restrictions they were putting on here. Let's see. As far as, I know the fire department wants access around there, the 20-foot seems like an awful lot. That's what you have, like a Kmart parking lot, not around a smaller building like this. I think that's a little overdone. And also the striping of the parking lot in the back behind the fencing doesn't make any sense to me either. There's parking cars back there that they're working on. I don't know why we'd want them to stripe that. I think most of the other items seemed appropriate. Any of the trustees have any comments or questions on this? No? Okay. Anyone in the audience have any comments or questions they'd like to state on this project? Well, okay. So, anyone on the board have any concerns with striking these two items off of the restrictions?
Your Honor, I'd be fine with everything behind the fencing.
Okay.
Makes sense.
What about the creating a 20-foot
Yeah,
around the building?
I think that's because they're storing flammable things and they're concerned about getting a fire engine around it.
Yeah, I understand, but here he's going to make the building or expand his property, and they're going to take a 20-foot swath right along the building. It's like, wow. Maybe that's supposed to be there before, that I'm not sure. I thought there was a new restriction. Just seemed like an awful large piece of real estate to take out of service when you have a business. Right, okay, that was up there. They do have room around the building, but down at least 20 feet all the way. You have 20 feet in a couple spots, 16 feet in another spot. I remember right here reading through this. And 12 feet is a small area in one section. No, not there either.
This one, gated fire lane on the north.
Well, that was what they requested, but another one
Yeah.
showed what they already
Oh,
currently had.
okay. I'm sorry.
So. Other things a little onerous when you have we're talking property on the south side of town that are not very deep and big lots. Somebody buys additional property to expand their business and make more parking so they can take the cars off the road. And then we put regulations on, then that's gonna reduce the parking that they have available. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But I also see the need to get a fire engine in there at least close. They're right on Beachville, they're right on Cedar Lake Road, the building's not that big. Again, I don't understand why they need to be behind it. Can you speak into the mic so I can?
Yes, Mayor, did you see the reference point, item number 4, on the second page from the fire department, where they do reference the fire code section?
Oh, yes.
You did,
yes.
okay, so-
But like anything, different organizations will write things the
Sure.
perfect way for themselves and not what's realistic in a modern world.
Okay.
Other questions or comments by the board? Okay. So it seems like we have approval for not requiring a striping at all behind the building, and the 20-foot swath, though, was kind of, we're still in discussion on that.
We got to revise the ordinance, so I just want to make sure that we get it right. So that would be behind the building you're referring to, parallel to Cedar Lake?
It's tiny.
Yeah, I know. Where's the? So parallel to Cedar Lake, right?
Right
Yeah.
behind the building, right.
So to
And
the-
on both,
to the east.
completely around the building is what they're
Okay.
looking at.
Anything that's fenced, correct?
Anything around the building.
Yeah.
Right, the fenced-in areas, right, where you don't always have to have that. Again, in a perfect world, if you had 6 acres of property there, yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
Where they come in here, going
Yeah.
around that way. Wanted the whole 20 feet all the way around, which kind of negates most of that parking there, because you can't even fit a car there then.
They're showing 16
Yes.
at the thinnest. Okay.
Which you can fit through there in 16. They want 20 to have extra room, which again, if they were building a brand-new development over in a lot the size of Kmart, absolutely, that's the restrictions that they should have. But when you have an existing business, you can't try to, something conform to the new standards with an existing business.
So we would say,
I guess according to what's currently in place, because they do currently have a spot around the building.
so,
I don't remember exactly what the size were, though. I can't see that.
yeah, so we're going to provide access that's consistent with the current drive aisle or access?
That would make sense to me, whatever is currently available there. They're able to get in there now. Again, if you try and kick back another 4 feet, you just took out all the parking.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, why have somebody spend $100,000 or $150,000 to expand when they see no difference as far as their parking goes?
So this is existing a lot with all these cars.
Right, those
So-
cars should not be there, right?
So we're gonna maintain like a 16-foot,
Yeah, I think it's 16 is what,
okay,
this actually
that's what it
works
shows.
out,
Okay.
right.
16-foot access, okay. Around perimeter, and then
Yeah.
no striping within the fenced area,
Yeah, that makes no sense.
right?
Out front here, yes, they should mark the areas necessary for people to park. That's where customers pull in. Where they're putting vehicles for storage, while they're working on them.
Okay,
And again, the whole area's gonna be fenced, so they won't be seen by the public whatsoever.
yeah, so no striping. Perimeter fence.
Anyone else have any other questions or comments on the changes? Okay. I guess I would ask for most with the changes of, on that, item A, the ordinance, an ordinance rezoning certain property, granting a special use permit with certain variances and departures regarding property at 1011 Cedar Lake Road.
So moved.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Wallace.
Second.
By trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any comments by the trustees? Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk? Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Item A is approved. Item B is an ordinance granting a special use permit for an automobile filling station for the property at the northeast corner of Route 83 and Hook Drive. Commercial property at the corner of 83 and Hook has been vacant for some time, I guess pretty much forever. The owners want to build a gas station convenience store there. The plan commission reviewed the plan and on a split vote makes no recommendation to our board. Does the petitioner wish to make any remarks and give a quick overview?
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Leiden. I am the Vice President of Development and fourth generation owner of True North Energy. We thank you for your time today to present our project to you. I'd like to keep this brief, but I do want to give you a good overview of the project here. Real quick, an agenda. I'd like to introduce our development team, give you guys a brief overview of our company. We'll go through the development summary overview, which includes a site plan, and we have some rendering videos, a traffic review, a fiscal impact, hours of operation, and liquor license, the conclusion, and then as always, we welcome any questions you may have and appreciate any feedback you might have about the project. So our development team, we are the developer and operator, True North Energy. Like I said, I am Lindsay Leiden. I'm a fourth generation owner and the Vice President of Development. With me, I have our Chief Operating Officer, Ryan Howard. Our development partner is Terrico Inc. The property owner, Round Lake Beach 1 LLC. Representing them is Vinnie David. The project engineer is RTM Engineering Consultants. We have Mr. Tim Shoemaker with us. The traffic consultant is KLOA Consulting. Javier Milan is here, and our landscape architect is Design Perspectives. So right now I'm going to let Mr. David come up and the property owner.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Vinny and I represent the sellers of Round Lake Beach 1 LLC. Round Lake Beach 1 LLC is a partnership of 4 families, including the Berger family. The property is managed by Berger Asset Management. Jonathan Berger, the managing member of Round Lake Beach 1 LLC, is the owner of Berger Asset Management. And he had planned to be here tonight, but he's at a funeral with his mother. Her best friend died, so if Jonathan were here today, he would tell you that he and his partners acquired the property, the commercially zoned property, in the midst of the Great Recession from Amoco Gas. Amoco sold a bunch of land it owned in response to the failing economy with a tentative plan to repurchase some of them, the zoned properties, including this property, once the economy stabilizes again. Amoco, of course, had plans to build a gas station and a convenience store on site, but as will happen, Amoco changed his mind. Over many years, ownership made several attempts to sell the property to retail users or developments. For example, the partnership engaged in the highly respected architectural firm Theodore Camburas and Associates to design a 12,000 square foot strip center. The anchor tenant was going to be Starbucks, but ultimately that changed and the ownership was forced to remarket the property. Subsequently, the ownership entered into a contract with White Castle, and the architects revised the plans from a strip center to a freestanding White Castle with a drive-through. White Castle submitted their application to the village, including a zoning variance request for a drive-through, but unfortunately White Castle was met with opposition and they withdrew the application. After White Castle, the ownership entered into a letter of intent with Bank of America, but unfortunately they also faced significant headwind due to concerns regarding the bank's overbuilding, and made only worse by the fact that the banks are not sales tax generators. Finally, Jonathan would like me to mention that the ownership entered into an agreement to allow Lake Michigan water pipes access through our property. And in other words, the owners have acted with the community's best interest in mind while seeking to develop the commercially zoned property in accordance with the village's long-standing master plan. At this time, the ownership, in conjunction with the buyer, True North, is once again asking for approval to build in accordance with the existing zoning. True North has an excellent reputation and is working diligently to be responsive to the village staff and to the community at large. While we recognize that this development may have a small pocket of opposition, we are confident that True North will be an excellent member of the community and benefit the community at large. Thank you.
Next, about our company. True North Energy LLC is a joint venture between True North Holdings, owned by the Leiden family. It was formed in 1999. The Leiden family has been in the industry since 1919. We are celebrating our 100th year anniversary this year. We have the third and fourth generations in leadership in the business. We own, operate, and supply 300 locations across. Our primary markets are Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus. We also have markets in Dayton, Youngstown, Toledo, and Detroit. We have company-operated sites and dealer-operated sites. This site that we are proposing today is a company-operated site, so they will be all our employees. True North Holdings, like I said, is a joint venture. True North Energy is a joint venture. True North Holdings is owned by the Leiden family, and the Leiden family also owns True North Management, which is all the employees, and True North Trucking, which is all the trucks that supply the site. One thing I'd like to point out is that although Shell is a 50-50 partner, they are an equity partner, and they really do leave the day-to-day business up to the True North Holdings and the Leiden family, which is important because it helps us, we believe, bring family values to the communities in which we serve. Right now, I'd like to play a quick development video for you. And one thing that you'll notice in this development video is the building is different than what we are proposing today. This was made a couple of years ago, and since then, we have decided to contemporize our building, similar to what other retailers such as McDonald's and Wendy's and Dunkin' Donuts have done. So you will see a different building in this video.
True North Energy was formed in 1999 as a joint venture between Shell Oil Company and the Leiden Company. The Leidens have been in business close to 100 years. We were formerly 85 years with Amoco Oil, being Amoco's largest and oldest distributor. We are a collection of 108 company-operated stores and 185 dealer stores. And now we represent Shell in the northern part of Ohio and into the suburban areas of Chicago. As a company that's approaching 100 years old, I am very proud to be its CEO and represent its culture. We're very proud of the culture we have. We are civic players, we are industry players. We pride ourselves on being involved in all the communities that we serve. When we go to a community and invest in that community, our attitude is to be an asset to that community. So you'll find our stores are well landscaped, well lit, safe and inviting. We like to be a complement to the fabric of that town.
We are highly selective in choosing the home of each gasoline and convenience development. Using the community attractiveness and our strategic fit with our brand as the primary selection criteria, the True North brand is positioned as a premium brand, which aspires to achieve quality through all we deliver. The materials used to construct the facilities, overall appearance inside and out, fuel and convenience products provide, and great staffing delivers fast, friendly, clean service to each customer. True North's current prototype features a 4,200 square foot building primarily composed of natural materials, brick, limestone with a pitched single roof. The fueling forecourt usually includes 6 to 8 gasoline dispenser units with the ability to fuel 12 to 16 vehicles simultaneously. Covered with Shell's global recognized modern but clean canopy image, clean LED lighting is utilized in both interior and exteriors of each facility. All surfaces are composed of concrete with no asphalt used on site. We use strong, often more expensive materials in our development, but believe the additional investment up front pays for itself in terms of delivering a representative identity over the long term. Accordingly, we are proactive related to maintenance and capital reinvestment. We also have a philosophy of keeping our locations contemporary and relevant. As we speak, we are completing remodeling sites we built less than 10 years ago.
Through our company operations, True North provides fuel and convenience retail to over 100 locations. Through all of the knowledgeable, hardworking, and dedicated employees, we offer each customer fast, friendly, and clean service at each of our stores. We operate our True North locations with our own staff, not through franchisees or independent operators like some national or international convenience store chains. This allows us to maintain a high bar related to standards, policies, procedures, and control of our operations. We have a script for nearly every square foot of what should be in our stores and how it should look, down to the backroom informational tack boards. This culture ensures we are successful in delivering on our brand promise. Our stores are adequately staffed and the staff are well trained, always putting our customers first. It is quite amazing to see some of the loyal relationships that develop between our staff and the consumers and the communities where they work. Let me show you around the store. We offer a wide variety of gourmet, premium, true brew coffees with a full assortment of creamers so you can make it just like you do at home. We have 20 flavors on the fountain lineup with chunky and chewy ice in either a plastic or foam cup, whichever you prefer. We also have a wide assortment of other refreshments, including your favorite traditional or craft beers in our North Pole Beer Cave. If you need a sandwich, you can always find something which hits the spot in our grab-and-go cooler. And our restrooms are not your typical gas station restrooms. With tile throughout and always kept clean, we've even earned Mom's approval.
The proposed site development, we are proposing to develop the northeast corner of Route 83 in Hook. It's a heavy commercial area. The corner is zoned commercial. We meet all the setback and parking requirements, and we are only requiring one variance for our primary ID sign. We do understand that we back up to residential, and we have made accommodations for that in the site plan, which you'll see next. So this is the proposed site plan. It's 8 dispensers with 16 fueling points. The convenience store is approximately 3,900 square feet. We have pulled everything forward towards Route 83, knowing that we butt up to the residential. It gives us some buffer room in between us and the neighbors behind us. We are requesting full access off of Hook and a right-in and right-out off of Route 83. We've also added additional landscaping, which the video in the next slide will really give you a good overview of what that looks like. We added some landscape buffering behind the building and around the detention pond. So this is our next generation facility. I have a short video, give you a better overview. So as you can see, we added some landscaping in the back. We brought the fence height up to 7 feet, which is the maximum allowed by the village. The trees are not shown at full height, so those will grow and create some more buffering. While this building is different from the other building that you saw in the video, the concepts remain the same. We use all natural materials, brick and stone. We brought the dumpster enclosure up to 8 feet. We are using a Trex for the door of the dumpster enclosure. We've bricked the canopy columns. We have added a brick base to the primary ID sign, to the base of the primary ID sign, to incorporate into the canopy columns and to the building. We have also, one of the things that came out of Planning Commission was the concern of headlights in the parking spaces shining to the residential. So we have added the row of evergreens to shield the car headlights from the neighbors. Also, the fence will help block that as well. We use all concrete drives. Like we said before, we put some higher end finishes into the site, into the building, knowing that down the road it's going to be minimal maintenance. We like our buildings to last. We have standing seam awnings and a metal coping in front of the building. So that is our building, and I will now turn it over to our Chief Operating Officer, Ryan Howard, to give you some information on traffic.
Thanks, Lindsay, and I'll try to be brief and just conclude the overview of our project here. On traffic, there was a lot of discussion on traffic at the Planning Commission, so I did want to bring Javier from KLOA up just for a second to hit a few of the high points. Certainly, if when we get into question and answers or any time throughout, if you have questions that you'd like to hear more detail on, he's an expert in the field, and they'd be happy to do so. A complete traffic study was done by KLOA, and then the village hired Gwalt Hamilton, independent traffic reviewer, on behalf of Round Lake Beach, and they basically concurred with the traffic study that was done and the recommendations given by KLOA. So with that, just for a few highlights, I'll bring Javier up.
Good evening. My name is Javier Milan. I'm a senior consultant with KLOA Incorporated, and as it was mentioned, we were retained to conduct a traffic study for the proposed development. As part of the traffic study, we conducted peak period traffic counts on a weekday and Saturday at the intersections of Illinois 83 with Hook Drive with Amber Prairie Way, and then Illinois 83 with the right-in, right-out serving the Home Depot store and the right-in, right-out serving the Goodwill store. In addition to traffic counts, we also observed the traffic operations in the area. And we did this on 2 separate occasions. First time was December 2018 during the heavy holiday season. And the second time on April 2019, more regular traffic rather than looking at December. These observations were conducted during the same 3 periods: the morning, weekday evening, and Saturday midday. So we found the following. The average queues for westbound traffic on Hook Drive at its intersection with Illinois 83 during the evening peak hour were typically 5 to 8 vehicles. What is that in terms of feet? It's roughly speaking 125 to 150 feet. Those queues clear with every green phase. Only twice during the afternoon period did we observe traffic to actually queue between 200 and 225 feet. During those 2 times on both days, December and April, those queue vehicles clear with every green phase. Then westbound traffics were certainly much shorter during the morning peak period or Saturday or even during the rest of the day. When we do counts, we put video cameras that actually collect the traffic, so we're able to watch 24 hours of video. I'll be honest, I didn't watch 1 in the morning till 5 in the morning, but the rest, you know, we watch it and we want to see what's happening, what's going on out there. As it was mentioned, they're looking for access, full access on Hook Drive and a right-in, right-out on Route 83. In addition to those proposed access drives, the development is contemplating and looking for cross-access connections to the north with the Goodwill store, which will provide or allow inbound and outbound movements between the two sites. This cross-access connection will increase the parcel's access flexibility by virtue of the following. It will increase the ingress-egress accessibility of the Goodwill store by allowing existing customers or patrons of the Goodwill store to actually, if they're coming from Hook Drive, to access the site without going onto Route 83. Also, it will allow residents of the residential area to the north to access the gas station without traversing through Route 83. In essence, providing cross-access is something that the state of Illinois and good planning tools basically recommend to reduce the number of conflicts outside and reduce that traffic that would have to otherwise travel into Route 83. So we then conducted capacity analysis just to see, okay, how well the intersections are operating today and how is it going to operate in the future. Future conditions this year, 2024, we increased traffic volumes by 11% to reflect typical growth that will happen in the area for other developments that we might not be aware of. We also included traffic to be generated by a proposed daycare facility further north at the corner of 83 and Engle Drive. And then on top of that, we added the traffic that this will generate, so as to not analyze things in a vacuum. Based on the analysis, the intersections are operating at acceptable levels of service and will continue to do so in the future. Besides the analysis, we wanted to ensure, is this going to operate well? So we also ran traffic simulation runs. So in essence, we take the volumes, we take the signal timings of the intersections, and we ran them and we simulate them. Not just one time, but several times, because traffic is very fluid. It's not always going to be the same. So based on the simulations, on average, westbound traffic queues will continue to be approximately the same as what they are currently, which is about 150 feet, and will continue to clear with every green phase. The average queue for eastbound vehicle traveling eastbound on Hook and making a left to get into the site will be approximately 50 feet, and that queue will not extend to Route 83. Outbound queues from the full access drive will not exceed 75 feet and will not have a problem making the maneuver out of the access drive because of what I mentioned, queues clear with every single green phase. Nevertheless, and we looked at this, in order to ensure efficient ingress-egress movements are provided from the access drive, we recommend that a do not block intersection sign to be posted for westbound traffic. Furthermore, and we mentioned this, traffic could be monitored and evaluated after a year. If the village feels and determines that the left turn movements into the site are problematic and traffic is backing onto Illinois 83, turn-in restrictions such as no left turns from 4 to 6 could be implemented. As it was mentioned, the submitted traffic study was reviewed by Gable Hamilton, your traffic consultant, and they concur with our methodology, findings, and recommendations. Before concluding my quick presentation, I know there were several items or concerns that were presented at the Planning Commission meetings, and I would like to address them. One of them was that southbound traffic on Route 83 destined to the gas station will enter the site through the Great Lakes Credit Union Discount Tire Access Drive and travel through the Goodwill store. Traffic in and out of gas stations, it's a matter of convenience, and it will be very unlikely that that southbound traffic will enter via the Discount Tire Access Drive for the following reasons. One, driving through the Discount Tire Access Drive will be a longer route than if you would continue south on 83, make a left onto Hook, and left into the site. And also it will be a quicker route if you continue on Route 83. Second, the majority of traffic traveling southbound, typical of all of us drivers, might find it easier to actually go into a gas station that is on the right side, whether it's before the site or after the site, because typical of gas stations, it tends to be what's convenient for you, a ride in and a ride out. Very seldom do you see somebody going out of their way to actually get out of there and go in the opposite direction. You want convenience. And third, which is the most important thing, like I mentioned, the observations of the existing traffic volumes as well as the traffic simulations have clearly indicated that westbound queues clear with every green phase. So as such, vehicles will be able to enter and exit efficiently, so you will not force vehicles to enter through the northern access drive. The other comment was that having a full access on a hook drive is dangerous, and people exiting the gas station desiring to travel southbound on Route 83, have to cross 2 lanes to get into the left-turn lane. As I previously mentioned, traffic clears, so every time that it clears, you have a great opening to actually turn right out of the access drive and get into the left-turn lane if you so desire, or continue west on Hook Drive. Furthermore, exiting vehicles crossing 2 lanes to get into the left-turn lane is no different than what NTV to the south has been doing for years. If they want to go north or if they want to go west on Hook Drive, they would have to cross also 2 lanes. Lastly, and I did this at the last meeting, I drove by the Walgreens on southwest corner of Rollins Road and Cedar Lake Road, and there's a similar situation, although it's a little bit more intense because any vehicle that is exiting the Walgreens store on Cedar Lake that desires to go north or go east on Rollins Road, they would have to cross 4 to 5 lanes. And Cedar Road carries definitely a lot more traffic than Hook Drive. Third concern or comment was that the access drive on Hook Drive should be permanently restricted to right in, right out. And if Hook Drive is permanently restricted to right in, right out, in essence, it's forcing additional traffic to the north, especially those desiring to travel south on 83, westbound on Hook, or those that are traveling southbound on 83 to access the Discount Tires. So in essence, we are unnecessarily increasing traffic that would be traveling northbound through the adjacent parcels, Goodwill, Discount Tires, and the Great Lakes Credit Union. And it completely limits the ingress-egress flexibility of not just the proposed gas station, but the overall site, including those parcels to the north. The fourth comment was that traffic on Hook Drive is very heavy. Hook Drive is a major collector. That is its designation, and currently, based on the traffic volumes, is utilizing half of its capacity. We looked at historical data. This is year 2009 traffic counts at this intersection, year 2015 traffic counts that were conducted as part of a post-construction origin destination study conducted for the Lake County Division of Transportation and the Illinois Department of Transportation to see how things are working after the construction of the Illinois 83 project. And we looked at our accounts, 2018, so we have 3 different years. And I would like to share this with you. The westbound to northbound right turn movement from Hook Drive to Illinois 83 have remained nearly identical during the PM peak hour and have been reduced during the morning peak hour. Conversely, the westbound through traffic volumes have been reduced 40%. This reduction is the result of the Rollins Road and Illinois 83 improvement that was completed in 2015. And lastly, there was a comment about a merge issue on Illinois 83 north of Hook Drive. As everybody knows, it goes from 2 lanes to only 1 lane, so you have that funnel effect. Well, we acknowledge that that funnel effect does exist. We have seen it. IDOT is proposing to improve Route 83 for 11-mile stretch, including this intersection. The improvements call for 2 lanes in each direction, divided by a barrier median. There's no dates yet for that improvement, but IDOT is aware of this funnel effect, and they're looking into it. Also, the proposed gas station will be providing an exclusive northbound right turn lane into their proposed right in, right out, which in essence, given that the majority of the traffic for a gas station is already in the traffic stream, it could potentially improve the situation of the funnel by peeling some of the traffic away from what's going northbound. Again, I condensed my presentation from the Planning Commission. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
What was the date of this second? You mentioned a date. I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, and I'm so sorry. So the first count was 2009. That was before the construction. Second count was 2015, and it was done as a post-construction count to see what is the pattern, what's happening. And the third count was 2018, and that was the counts that we conducted. So we're able to look at those 3 years.
Thank you.
Okay, now moving on, at the Planning Commission, there was some concern about, in a few of the spots, obviously the spots that are the best spots to park are in front of the store where there would be no headlight noise, headlights going through the store. Obviously, they're blocked well by the store to the adjacent residents. But in front of some of the parking spots from number 13 through 27, that concern was brought up. So we did a couple of things. We added some evergreen trees, and we tried to do those closest to where those headlights would be emitting light. And then as a backup, we also put in some evergreens back by the fence. And again, as Lindsay said, those aren't at mature height yet, as shown in this. They're just shown, a few years in. We also raised the level of the fence. So we think we've done as much as we can to make sure that light isn't getting through. And then furthermore, we're going to offer all 6 of the residents that are directly adjacent to us a $500 landscaping credit. So if they want to put in some additional arborvitaes back on their property, they certainly can do that. There's actually, behind our fence, there's still some distance to the property line. And then there's a retaining wall that actually resides on the properties of the residents. And so they could even plant those, take that landscaping money and plant those arborvitae or whatever tree they may want up on that raised portion. So that are up on the retaining wall. So it's kind of self-elevated versus where the house is. Next, just quickly here, a review of why we see a gap in the marketplace. And one of the things that we think is happening is Round Lake Beach is actually leaking fuel tax revenue to neighboring villages. You're actually well covered as we look at the Rollins Road corridor. You have Meyer and Thornton's, and on down there's even some additional competitors. There's a Graham, Sitco, and everything down there. So we think the Rollins Road specifically west of 83 is well covered. The corridor that we see as the gap is the northbound area. There's no gas station, convenience store all the way back into Grays Lake, around Lake Street on 83 going northbound, all the way up to the Marathon location that actually resides in Lake Villa. So in that entire corridor, there's no gas station, convenience store, and even the Marathon resides outside of the village, so you're missing that tax revenue. Furthermore, the Marathon is a bit dated, doesn't have what today's consumers are looking for. And so that's why we see a gap in the marketplace, which leads me into the next slide. Our estimates, based on our estimates that we've put together for our economic model, we will generate estimated $100,000 annually for Round Lake Beach in taxes based on the 1% of the state sales tax, which does also is also collected on motor fuel, and the 0.5% of home rule tax. Obviously, in addition to that, we pay property taxes on the improved property and other additional taxes that you may have. We do intend to run the store 24 hours, 7 days a week. We also request the ability to sell beer and wine to compete with other Round Lake Beach and surrounding community retail offerings. Just quickly on the conclusions, the site, as you heard, the site has sat vacant with little interest in development and has not been generating tax revenue for the village. The development has been designed in consideration with the neighboring residential properties. I didn't go through all the improvements that were made in the Planning Commission or in hearing the residents, but we made a number of those. We've tried to accommodate those neighboring properties and be cognizant. I think other uses would struggle even more to put any buffer that we were able to do with this development. It's an appropriate use. The site is zoned commercial. The comprehensive plan supports the commercial development that we're proposing. As you heard, traffic analysis by True North and Round Lake Beach also supports the requested access. They're both experts in traffic. And it complies with zoning ordinances as written with only one minor sign variance needed. And I believe that was commented on at Planning Commission that's been a variance that's been readily made available to others. So with that, we have more. We're happy to go into more detail, answer any questions or concerns that you might have, but that concludes our formal presentation at this point.
Any of the trustees have any questions? Chris, is there anything else that you'd like to add to that?
No, the petitioner did a fine job.
Thank you. At this time, if anyone in the audience has any comments or questions for the petitioner or for the board, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Either state your comment or ask your questions. I do ask that you kind of keep it concise and to the point, and that we don't have to repeat the same information over and over and over.
My name's Brian Zick. I've been in this community for over 25 years. I'm the first time coming to these meetings lately, have had almost a disrespect for the village come to the people. You know, it was a great dog and pony show what they're talking about. I work in millions of dollars of construction every year at high schools. The trees that they're talking about giving $500, you can't even buy one single tree that's 6 foot tall for that much money. The trees that they're putting in, they're not going to be higher than the 8-foot fence. The lighting that they're putting in is going to show into all of those homes. My house doesn't back up to it, but I know I've gotten already people to come in to give me a price on what my house is worth, and it is going to drop if this gas station is built. So my big concern is because the village passes this, I will move out of this village after 25-something years. I just feel like we're all being disrespected of people that live here in these homes. A gas station, that's just what we need. One that sells alcohol, one that sells gas, a mile and a half from another gas station. When is it going to stop? And I know the taxes aren't coming to us because our taxes keep going up. I mean, we're one of the second highest villages in taxes for the homes that the homes are worth. A $200,000 home, you're paying $9,000 in taxes. You explained it to me. If you can explain this to me, I'll accept it. But if not, I don't know. And I know I had sent an email to you, and I didn't want you to take it the wrong way, but I'm pretty frustrated after having my house built and living there for over 25 years. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Just point of clarification on the property tax that you paid, the $9,000, the village only gets a small portion of that, about 5%. It's all the schools, the parks district, the fire department, library district. That's the county. That's where all the money goes to. So.
I understand that, but all I heard right now is what was going to be going to the village.
Yes, the sales taxes we do get. Right, right. As we said earlier, is a commercial piece of property. It's been zoned commercial for years and years and years. Commercial development has, commercial property has commercial development on it eventually. Just like when the Walmart went in years and years ago, we had quite a few people, not so many residents, but a lot of non-residents that lived in the county over near Engel were highly against it. They didn't want anything on that. They wanted to park there. I understand it. I would probably want to park there if I lived there too, but it belonged to somebody else, and it was in a long-term plan to be commercial property. So that's why they were looking at building a commercial. I'm sorry, you want to come up?
Hi, my name is Margarita Chavez, and I live right behind where they're planning to build the gas station. My question is, how is this going to affect whenever I try to sell my house? A lot of people don't want to live behind a gas station. I've been living in that house since the development went up, almost about 25 years ago. So I'm concerned now about if we try to sell a house and move somewhere else, somebody else is going to buy it. How is it going to affect? And also, like you said, the taxes. They're probably going to go up, affecting all of us.
When you bought that house, was that its own commercial?
No, there was nothing there. I bought it 25 years ago.
But it was zoned commercial?
Yeah, it was nothing there.
But it was empty, but it was already zoned for commercial property.
Well, I'm not sure what it was for, but yeah, probably. But that's what it was left behind, like it was, empty.
Yeah, and I understand why you don't want one there, but it was already zoned commercial.
I mean, not that I don't want somebody there, I just thinking about the gas station and the alcohol and the traffic that it's going to bring, to us and all those things.
But any commercial business that's going to be viable, it's going to bring traffic. That's what commercial business does.
Well, it depends also, how they're going to enter and exit.
How else would you do it?
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, through 83, you know.
Well, but the state won't allow them to do that off 83 because that's too busy of a corridor. So, yeah, that you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. You got to do something. And this is the best possible answer as far as the entrance and exits go, based on all the engineers working on state law.
So the best thing then to build is a gas station, according to you?
I'm not saying that's the best use for the property, no. That's not my call. The owner's call. The only reason we're even here today for a special use permit, because years ago the village determined that automotive uses can impact the area a lot more than other uses. So we created a special use permit for automotive uses. So they have to come before this board and before our plan commission, even though the only variance they need is a small sign variance to move their sign a little closer to the road than what the current code allows, which our code is probably too restrictive on that. So because everybody needs that change, unless again you're a Kmart development where you have 50 acres of property. So that's the only difference there. But otherwise, most other commercial uses could go right on there by right without even coming to this board. I appreciate your comments, and I understand that. And again, if I lived right next to it, I probably wouldn't want it there either. But it's up to me to determine what's else going to build on our own property when it's owned commercial and is a commercial use. That's what this board's got to decide right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions? Hi.
Hi, my name is Janet Taylor, Taylor. I live at 2018 North Amber Prairie Way. You stated that the property's been zoned C3 and that it's been that way for a number of years, and that gas stations have to have a special
use permit.
A special use permit. So that's why it's in front of the board here. So I understand it's been zoned that way for 30 years, and 30 years ago we were able to bring asbestos into this nation without any issue, without any restrictions in the EPA. Obviously things have changed. We know that gas stations release benzene, which is a known carcinogen. There was a study done by Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health that was published in October of 2018. I provided the information to the Planning Commission that states that gas stations emit as much as 10 times higher than what they're stating they're releasing into the environment. So there is a very big concern with a gas station that close to homes, especially where children live, and also older people. You're now releasing a carcinogen. There are concerns about the lights. The property is higher than the property behind it. And I don't know about anyone else, but if you've ever had the windows open at night and a car is driven by, even though you're on the second floor, you can see it pretty easily. Noise, that's a big concern. We get a lot of noise from Goodwill. Cars slamming, people talking. Now, other places have working hours, but they actually do shut down. This place will not shut down. This will be open 24/7. There will be lights shining on people's homes 24/7. And I certainly understand they're bringing in the landscaping. It will take approximately, according to their landscaper, 10 years for those trees to reach maturity. That's a long time for people to have lights shining in their home. There are a lot of concerns. I also started a petition on change.org. That pocket of resistance is now growing. I'm now up to 88 signatures. I'm hoping to get more people involved because I just found out about Nextdoor, so I started publicizing about this. I am concerned. This is a blight to the community. If you put whipped cream on poop, it's still poop. It can look really pretty, but underneath it all, it's a gas station. And you've now got emissions coming into people's backyards. And I'm asking you, please, kindly, do not allow this. I'm not objecting to commercial at all, not in the slightest. What I'm objecting to is benzene in people's backyards and lights 24/7. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Yes.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak. My name is Dan Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. I'm with Goodwill. So we're at this point of the adjacency of a potential gas station coming in there. Goodwill's position is we strongly oppose this gas station from moving in there, and the main reason is for concerns to the safety of our donors and our shoppers. Having the ingress-egress connecting the two properties will create a cut-through, and it was basically explained. And again, there's that choke point where people typically are going to want to avoid. But having people come in off Millstone and or Hook to cut through that area is going to create a lot more traffic in our area. And for me, in my position, that's my primary concern, is the safety of my donors and shoppers. Just to give you kind of an idea, through May 12th through the 18th, we had over 9,600 transactions at that location. So within 6 days, we had over 9,636 people come through there. And that's shoppers, that's not even our donors. We average about 900 shoppers in a day. We average about 250 donors in a day for that location. Those are Round Lake Beach members. That's our community. That's the ones that we serve. We've been here since 2010. Luckily, we haven't had any issues with people getting hurt, hit by a car, or any accidents out there in front. And right now, the way I look at it, as stated, the business there is a fast and friendly service. It's fast. People want to get off the road, get their gas, whatever they're there for, get back on the road and get going. They will drive a little faster, they'll take a little, shortcuts, whatever they can do to get going again. And that's the environment that I believe we're going to create. Now, I mentioned the number of donors and shoppers that we have at Goodwill. I have no idea what Discount Tires has or the credit union has in there, but you're going to ask for another business there that's that fast and friendly service, and you're going to be a magnet with more people coming in there, and to me, it's going to create an issue. As stated by their traffic study, if they do not believe that Millstone is going to be needed for anybody that's heading south, then eliminate the ingress-egress. It's not needed then. Plus, they have a gas station about just a little over a mile on the opposite side of the street to capture the southbound traffic. So if they've got that there, I still don't see a need for that ingress-egress. That's just where we're at. The safety aspect for our customers and donors, the amount of people that we have come through there is extensive, and I'd really hate to see something happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Years ago, the village started asking and requesting cross-accesses on lots similar to where this is going right now, just like the Jewel. Right now, you have the Jewel. You have all the stop signs in front there. You have a lot of different business altogether. But cars don't come in off Rollins Road all independently. They enter the one access, and they go from store to store to store. That, from what I understand, is much more safe than having people constantly pull out back onto the road and enter back into the next shopping plaza that they want to go to. So while I can understand it can sometimes be more traffic, it can also help prevent accidents by people trying to get out on the main roads all the time. So many more cars funneling out that way instead of the safe way to the stoplights at either side, either Hook or over at Millstone also. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Ed Furman. I live at 214 Sprucewood Court in Round Lake Beach. A little different tack for the question here. I know that the subdivisions that are to the east of Route 83 have been kind of isolated, especially from a pedestrian and a bicyclist perspective, from a lot of places that they might go to. It's still pretty much a car-optimized area and environment that they're in. The convenience store going in with the gas station, if this does go ahead, would be the de facto convenience store for a lot of the people in Fox Chase, and I forget the name of the other subdivision there. I'm wondering if currently the proposed site plan has a bicycle rack for kids who might be coming up for their Slurpee equivalents, whatever True North calls that, or for pedestrians, and simply a family walk for something afterwards. Again, that's the go-to place, the only kind of establishment like that east of Route 83, with whatever the Jewel shopping center might have. That whole establishment has turned its back to the subdivisions up there, so crossing Hook doesn't necessarily get you anything. You're still at the back of a long, spread out building with loading docks and stuff. So I'm curious if there is any tweaks for pedestrian and bicycle accommodation, or if this is a typical suburban-style gas station plonked down right next to a residential area. Thank you.
Please.
So to answer the question, number one, we are extending sidewalks that will hook into Goodwill, also across our entire property, both on 83 and on Hook, and off of our property on Hook to connect back at Prairie Valley Way. In addition, the bike rack suggestion sounds like a great one to me. We'd be willing to put that into our development if the board so desired. We did not have it proposed today, but it sounds like a great suggestion.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for the board?
Good evening. Sorry. Terry Austin, Austin. I live at 1976 Amber Prairie Way. I only have 4 issues with this. First of all, and most importantly, the emissions, the gas. These are family homes. We live in a 4-bedroom home, 3 bathrooms. We want kids in there. We're not going to stay. We're going to go. We have grandchildren right now. But we want to sell it to a family, as do all these other people, I'm sure. As far as the traffic, yeah, I'm sure that, their reports were well worth the money. But talk to some of us that live there. We deal with this. We deal with the construction. We deal with the their times of day are fine. I won't go out of my house at 5 o'clock anywhere. Going to a Jewel even. I'd rather walk than get in my car because it's so congested over there. In the morning, I can't imagine somebody having to get up and go and get gas and going in and out of there. How many people are going in and out of there? You can't get out of your driveway. We're the second house in off of Amber Prairie Way. You can't get in and out of your driveway if there's something going on because everybody uses that area to go in and out. They take 83 down to Amber Prairie Way. And you gotta wait until the traffic goes in. As far as the lights and everybody clearing, no, that just doesn't happen. Third, you almost had me with the landscaping. You really did, but that's, again, gonna take a very, very long time, and I really don't think we're gonna be there. The lights, people out there constantly playing around and laughing and breaking bottles, and it's, again, guys, it's just not the right place for it. Please, let's think about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Douglas Wands, 1986, North Amber Prairie Way. True North was approved to build a gas station in Glen Ellen, where there's already currently a gas station, where previously there was a gas station. The people of Glen Ellen, it got approved by the city council. Well, the people won the lawsuit against the council for putting the gas station there, because it's within 300 feet of residents and a school. Most of the civilized world knows that it's 90 meters is the minimum distance that you have to have residents to gas stations. This has been proven in Spain, where now it's a national law. Raleigh, North Carolina, you can't put a new gas station in within 100 meters of residents. That's why there's an ordinance for this. It's not safe. Benzene, like she said, it's a very dangerous chemical. I was an oil king. I worked on fuel and lube oil all the time for the United States Navy. This is dangerous stuff. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old at home. I live right behind this. So now, not only for the 24 hours, am I looking at expressing my Second Amendment right and making sure I defend my home because of the security issue this causes. Now I gotta worry about one of the leading causes for child leukemia to be airborne in my backyard. Think about that.
Thank you. Benzene's come up twice tonight now, and this, maybe 3 times. I haven't seen any studies on that. This has never been brought to us as a board before, and I'm really surprised if it's that big of an issue, we haven't heard of it. Chris, can you mention it at all?
We have reached out to our village engineers, and they have not had any studies, reviewed any studies in that regard. I'm sure the representatives from True North probably have some better insight on that.
Please.
Okay, so behind you is just a couple of simple diagrams that I'll talk through. We live in a highly regulated era today. In the past, there weren't these systems in place always, but today there are. There's 2 kind of vapor recovery systems that are at work. The first, up in the diagram on the left-hand side, is how prior to the last few years, things were happening. Basically, vapors that come along with fuel. In a car, there was a recovery mechanism within the nozzle that took vapors, they went back down into the tank. When a gas tanker came to drop off fuel, they hook up 2 hoses. One hose drops the fuel into the tank. The other hose is where the vapors are recovered back into the tanker. Those vapors are then taken back to the terminal and go back into the system and actually end up coming back out as fuel. There's a process that they come back out as fuel. Today, that process has changed only a little, so everything that happens with a tanker still happens. Those vapors are released back into the tanker. What has changed today is after 1997, it was mandated that any car made have an onboard canister that recovers vapors when that nozzle goes into your car. Then then your engine actually burns that vapor as it does fuel and everything else. So no vapors are being emitted into the system. I did read up because the Columbia University study was presented at the Planning Commission meeting. We reviewed that. That study only took into account 2 locations. It really isn't credible. They picked 2 random locations. I don't even know how they chose them. But they may have had faulty equipment. There's a lot of things that could go into study like that make it not credible. What is more credible is the California board, who sets a lot of the regulations that are adopted by the rest of the states, where hundreds and thousands of studies are done. And they have determined that the current system, that there aren't vapors being released into the air.
I'm sorry, was there a comment?
Yeah, I have a question. So you're going to say that running automobiles, which you know happens at a gas station, that they're not dispensing any fumes or vapors? And in the wintertime, who gets out of their car and doesn't leave it running while they run into the store or to buy whatever?
I don't.
So respectfully, that wasn't what we said. Obviously, cars, as they go around, emit fumes, through the tailpipe. That doesn't matter if they're stopping at a gas station or going through a McDonald's. They're still emitting that same amount of fumes. My presentation was all relative to the fueling process. So during the fueling process, no vapors are being emitted by that fueling process. No additional vapors are being emitted by that fueling process.
Yeah, benzene was actually brought up in the exhaust. Is the benzene is concentrated, or is there any benzene still in the exhaust?
I'm not an expert to speak on,
Does anyone in the audience know that?
Benzene's not from the exhaust. It's the carcinogen. It's a part of the ozone that's actually produced inside, when it sits inside the underground tanks.
Yeah.
And therefore, anytime you spill a drop of gasoline on the ground, which, okay, I've never spilled a drop of gasoline when I filled up my car.
No, we all have.
It releases into the air. And the effects of that have not been disproven. As much as he may say it's been proven that it's safe, it hasn't been disproven of how dangerous the chemicals are to the airborne. And the way things have been proven is that 90 meters away, the weight of the molecules in the air settle to the ground within 90 meters. That's the only thing that's been proven scientifically. And there hasn't been a single gas station ever decommissioned that has not spilt and toxified the soil. Anywhere.
So those things being stated are not necessarily true. There is no 90-meter rule. I'm sure your village attorney could speak to that. You know, that's basically.
Any other comment?
Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health is one of the top 5 public health schools in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Report. They would not put something online to trash their reputation that was fictitious. They have a huge reputation. Not only that, but the National Cancer Institute states that there's no level of benzene that is safe. On top of that, I remembered something after the fact. The fire department strongly recommended that True North put in sprinklers in their building because it was so close to residences. As of the, the Planning Commission, Mr. Howard stated that they would do whatever the ordinances would follow with little regard to the safety and any concern about neighbors. Obviously, he's showing very clearly how little he cares about the people behind him. It's money over people.
I wouldn't agree with you on that. There are fire laws, and there's different depending on where you live. Most of Lake County is 10,000 square feet or larger. You've got to install sprinklers. They look at the number of people that are coming in and out of a building and things like that. There's a lot of things that go into it. We do require single-family houses, and a lot of our lots, they have sprinklers now because the lots themselves are so tiny. You got house upon house upon house. And, you can reach out and shake your neighbor's hand just about through the windows. So that is something we did institute. We did have for a while more restrictive sprinkler systems in some of the businesses. We had to relax that a little bit because there was absolutely nothing happening in our community. So we went back to what everyone else is doing in Lake County as far as the zoning goes and requirements for sprinkler systems. If you talk to the fire department also, you'll find out there's very few fires ever anymore. I think it's like 98% of their calls are all ambulance calls. That's what keeps them all busy. There's so few fires, other than mostly grass fires or garage fires, and people try to cook a turkey in a deep fryer in their garage rather than outside in the driveway where they should do it. A lot of those things happen in older homes. Electrical fires used to be a large part of the fires. That doesn't happen anymore with new buildings. So the safety aspect of the buildings themselves has increased tremendously, and that's one reason why the sprinklers are not being required.
Well, that may be true. It was your fire department who recommended that.
The fire department will want them in everything you build anywhere. A doghouse, they would want them in. That's just what fire departments do.
Gas station next to residential.
Yes.
Like very close proximity, not like there's 100 yards between the gas station.
I understand. Can you tell me where the closest fire was with the gas station? Can you tell me where there was a fire that had a gas station that caught a fire recently? If you Google it, sure, you can find them someplace.
Yeah.
But
According
it just
to-
doesn't happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, then we become a statistic. And unfortunately, I don't want to become a statistic. According to National Fire Protection Association, more than 5,000 gas station fires occur each year.
Yes, but see, you're taking away out of context. You're taking one big number and you're making it into something that's, oh, this is all like a huge place on fire. It's not. A lot of those like little janitorial closets, there's a lot of tiny fires. So you can't just throw a statistic out there and make it sound like these are horrendous problems. They're not.
May I ask you a question, all of you? Would you want this in your backyard? If you say no, then why would you vote yes to punish us?
No one's punishing anyone. See, you're twisting this whole thing around. You bought property next to a commercial zone property. Commercial zoning can go there. That's the whole point here. Somebody else owns that property.
Yeah, why is there an ordinance for it? Why do you, yeah, we.
It's because it's 24/7 and it's a gas station.
Yes.
That's
Well,
You have to do a special
yeah,
use
if
for a
you get
gas
White
station.
Hen, We had a big uproar when White Hen wanted to come in, and they shut down. The developer didn't even come in then because it was so bad, because there's going to be a White Hen.
I never even heard of that. No, none of us.
White Castle.
I'm sorry, White Castle.
I never heard White Castle either.
Thank you.
I mean,
Somebody's
yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I knew nothing about that. The first time I heard about that was when I got a certified letter from them to the wrong address. I'm sorry, to the wrong, yes, to the wrong zip code, so that it was delayed by a week.
But would you mind stepping in the microphone so it gets on the record? Would you mind stepping in?
Fundamentally, there's a problem with your argument where you're saying, well, it was zoned commercial, right? 30 years ago, it was zoned commercial is what was stated at the last planning commission, which may be true, but if that's the case, then why is it before the trustees to approve a special use permit? It's because it's a special use on a commercial property,
Yes.
right? So to attest that all these people should just accept the fact that it's commercial it's an invalid statement, right? Logically, it's an invalid statement. Fair?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because the special use permit designation is put on there because they're automotive use. Any kind, it could be a car dealership, it could be anything automotive.
Well, that's
this is a
true.
gas station. So
They can still contest it, right?
Pardon? Anyone can contest anything, yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's our rights as citizens. We can make our valid points, and the landowners own the property also.
Right.
And they should be able to build what they would like to build on their property, provided it meets all the zoning requirements.
And it gets approved by this board, and the board thinks it's a good idea of the use of the property.
Well, no, see, we can't just at our own whim come and say,
I'm not
oh, you can
suggesting
build
that
this,
it's a
you can't
whim,
build
sir.
that.
What
Pardon?
I'm suggesting is that people have valid arguments against it. That's not a whim.
No, that's not, right.
So-
And the question is, you feel they're very strongly valid. The petitioner does not think that that's a valid argument. This board's got to decide now which is a stronger argument or the one that is correct based on the landowner's property rights. And trust me, this board does not want to see anyone have any issues or problems or things go bad. That's not what we're here for. We've done a lot for this community over the years. We've tried to build it up and help to make the community better. We worked hard to get the Rollins 83 underpass in. That took years and years of work with the county and the state. We've done a lot of things here to make it better. Now, you're in huge, strong opposition to this project. I see that. Now, whether the board approves it or not, that we'll find out here shortly. But please don't think for 1 minute these people don't care about you. These trustees care very much. I care very much about all of our community.
We lose money and not to interrupt, if we lose money on our property.
But you are interrupting. You are interrupting. You got to stop. He's the chair of the meeting. You have to let him speak.
I will recognize you, sir. But just so you get on the record, do you mind stepping the microphone? Otherwise, it doesn't pick up for the record.
I just have a problem because I know I'm gonna lose money on my house, which I've already done. So if I lose $50,000 because they're gonna build this gas station, who covers my loss? The village?
No.
Because nobody really cares if we lose money, but if we start moving out of that, if we start moving out of that area and everybody starts selling their homes, how is the village board gonna feel? Or better yet, do we go to Channel 2, Channel 5, Channel 7, and just put it all over the news to see what's going on, to see what the real rest of the community and everybody else feels about it?
And that also is, you're right. If you want to go to the news media, you're welcome to do that. That's completely up to you. This board is going to decide on the property rights of the petitioners.
You're right.
And whether they meet our zoning requirements.
It just
based on
feels to
law.
us, that if you want my opinion, that the way it's being talked to us, that it's already been passed. That's how I feel, so that's why I've
And
already
from your
gotten-
initial email, I got the same feeling. You would not give us any credence that we were actually trying to make a decision up here, that we reviewed the evidence. All of us read through a lot of pages of evidence here and information here. The benzene was something that really wasn't any report in here for the benzene. If you want to speak, you have to please come to the microphones again so we can get it all on a record. And we're going to have to wrap this up here pretty soon. We've gone on much longer than we expected to.
I just requested the council look at the lawsuit against the city of Glen Ellen. Look at that.
Do you know why
before-
that failed, though? Usually lawsuits like that fail because they didn't follow proper procedures or something else, or technicality
No,
rather
it's
than-
because there was a gas station within 300 feet of a school and residential.
I would be
Yeah.
shocked at that, but it's possible. We'll have to check it out.
Yes, please.
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I know a little bit about that case. Yeah, it was within 300 feet of a school, and that was a substantial concern for the court. Another one of the court's big concerns was that there had been a gas station there, and it failed. Another concern of the court was the fact that the village actually owned the property and was the decision maker in the case. And because the village owned the property, the court said that it had a vested interest in the decision and discounted a lot of what the village said in the testimony that was in the record, both at the planning or at the village board level and then in court, because the court said this was the only case that the court could find that actually had the village as the owner and the decision maker on the special use.
That's interesting. Thank you. And the trustees have any future questions on anything you've heard so far? Any future comments from the audience? And further information you want to? Yeah, please come to the microphone. Doesn't pick it up otherwise for the record.
It doesn't need to be on the record.
Well, it does. It really does. Unfortunately.
I just wanted to say that you made the comment that you've worked. The village has worked so hard for the village, the town and whatnot. We have too. We're out there improving our homes and doing what we can too. So.
Oh, I don't disagree with that whatsoever.
Okay. Just so you know, we're doing it.
Well, thank you all for your comments. I appreciate you coming out and taking the time to do this. I know it's, everyone have very limited time, and we do appreciate you making your statements here, and whoever attended the Plan Commission, the same thing there for that. Once again, any questions by the board?
And remember, this came out of the Planning and Zoning Commission with no recommendation because it was a tie vote of 3-3. So this does require a vote of a majority of the trustees holding office. So it requires an affirmative vote of 4 trustees.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that being said, the item B is an ordinance granting a special use permit for an automobile filling station for the property at the northeast corner of Route 83 and Hook Drive. With the changes, I think it would be nice, depending on what the board decides if they approve this or not, that a bike rack is added. Thank you, Ed, for bringing that up. Our guys should have caught that. And also working with the Goodwill on whatever stop signs need to be installed to help slow the traffic, just like at Jewel or at the old Kmart, anywhere that has connected parking lots to help move traffic smoothly and allow pedestrians to enter and exit the stores along there. At this time, we'll leave it up to trustees to make a motion for or against. Okay, let me ask that. I guess the petitioner is asking for a motion to be granted, so I guess that's actually the correct way I should ask that question. Is there a motion to grant the petition? We have a motion by trustee Wallace. Is there a
Second.
second by trustee Nichols? We do have a motion. We have a second. Once again, any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace? Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Husk?
That has been approved. Again, we do appreciate all you coming out tonight. You might feel that your voices weren't heard or they didn't listen. Sorry you feel that way, but we do appreciate you being here.
One quick question.
When are you guys up for re-election?
Be in 2021.
Excellent, thank you.
And that was not very nice to comment and make, but thank you anyway. It's unfortunate when people take those things, when we try to do our jobs and try to turn them into something nasty like that. It's not appreciated, but that was her choice to make the final comment. Okay, item C is an ordinance amending the Round Lake Beach zoning ordinance relative to solar energy systems. We recently approved our first renewable energy ordinance in Round Lake Beach. We just reviewed the ordinance with our SolSmart advisors, and they recommended a few changes, just some minor modifications, nothing big. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve? Motion by trustee Valdez.
Second.
Second by trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
That's
Trust-
all.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Trustee Husk? And Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Okay, it's also approved. Item D is a resolution approving the local agency agreement for the Orchard Lane Hook Drive improvements. Unfortunately, these bids came in pretty high, about $1.8 million over the estimates that were approved for the funding. We need to accept the bid and also approve the use of our MST funds to cover the shortfall, which we do have plenty of. We've been saving up for the bigger projects. This project is being funded 80% with federal money for the original estimate, so at least we're still getting a very good deal on the road itself being reconstructed, both Orchard and Hook. It's unfortunate, though, that we've got to expend those extra monies rather than go towards additional road improvements. We're still trying to get the organization to fund higher amounts, but the odds of that happening are pretty unlikely. But we'll keep on trying. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve? Motion by trustee Wallace. Second by trustee Stout. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Stout? Aye. Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez? Aye. Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item E is a resolution authorizing the approval of a contract for environmental mosquito management program. This is kind of a housekeeping item. Unfortunately, mosquitoes come and go every single year. We've been approving this base amount for the mosquito control with a little bit of a buffer in case we have a bad year of mosquitoes. We can do an extra spray. We also do it around our beach fest time, so when we have a big family event out here, we can make sure we have the cleanup for that also. Unfortunately, it doesn't kill all the mosquitoes off, only a portion, and the winds tend to blow them all over the county, so we try to work with our partners around us, so we all spray around the same time. So we knock down as many as possible, so we don't spray and then the mosquitoes smell like Villa blow in the next day. Okay, any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Cleveland, second by trustee Valdez. We have motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout?
That's also approved. Item F is a resolution authorizing the approval of a contract with Salinas Landscaping, an amount not to exceed $29,750. They're the ones that are building the wall at the memorial up at Cedar Lake in Clarendon. It's our old memorial park. We finally had a Eagle Scout start the project by putting the pad in and some of the sidewalks. Now we're completing the project, so it should be ready for Memorial Day, a week from today. So we can have our services out there with a brand-new setting. Should be very nice. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Nichols,
Second.
second by trustee Wallace. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout? Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item G is a resolution authorizing the approval of contract with Costco Flags and Flagpoles LLC, an amount not to exceed $13,935. These are actually the flagpoles and the flags that go out there. I believe there's 6 of them, Mr. Clavane?
I believe there's 7.
7? 7. Okay, 7. Should be a really nice setting with all the different services on there as well as the American flag. So we're looking forward to that all again being up for next Monday's Memorial Day services. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Valdez.
Second.
Second by trustee Cleveland. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout? Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item H is a resolution awarding the bid for certain expenditures for paving and patching in an amount not to exceed $50,000. Each year, we go with different bids on this. Patching is patching. We all know what the winter does around here. So we're going to be doing a $50,000 not to exceed for our patching. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Wallace.
Second.
Second by trustee Nichols. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item I is a resolution approving change order number 1 relative to the village's original contract with Suez Water Well Solutions. We had well number 4 pumped, pulled and tested. It costs about $15,750 to have it all done. Unfortunately, the pump is pretty well shot. They need to put a whole new pump in. It's gonna be expensive, but because we're replacing the pump completely, they'll be able to increase it to about 65% capacity from 180 gallons per minute to 300 gallons per minute. Where you do have job well water, so we don't have to use the wells very often, luckily. But when we do need them, we wanna make sure our residents don't run short of water. There have been some major breaks over in the Grays Lake area where they had a backhoe hit the 4-foot water main, and that shut us down for 2-3 days. So we're gonna make sure if that happens, we're always prepared to service our residents with fresh water. So we have to increase this from $15,750 up to $40,000, not to exceed amount. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Nichols,
Second?
second by trustee Wallace. We have motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
That's also approved. Item J is an ordinance amending the village code to prohibit electronic product promotional kiosks and electronic sweepstakes machines. I'm not sure how much you guys have heard about sweepstakes machines, but they've been popping up all over Illinois, even in Chicago, where they prohibit gaming machines. They've had a problem with these. They're not currently regulated by the state, but the state is suing to stop them, claiming they violate the video gaming machine ordinances. Unfortunately, it's still in the courts, and for some reason, the state has not, or the judge has not stopped them from putting them in until this is resolved. To me, it's pretty clear it's against the gaming ordinance. For some reason, the judge doesn't think it's so clear, so we'll see what happens there. But we can't wait for that lawsuit to be completed, so we're gonna pass an ordinance now to keep them out of Round Lake Beach. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Cleveland. Second. Second by trustee Stout. We have a motion and a second. Any questions by the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Stout?
Aye.
Trustee Nichols?
Aye.
Trustee Cleveland?
Aye.
Trustee Valdez?
Aye.
Trustee Wallace?
Aye.
And that's also approved. That was our last item on the agenda. We do not have any executive session. We have no action on those items. So at this time, it is open to public participation. Anyone else has a question or comment for the board, please come to the microphone and either state your comment or ask a question. Well, thank you again for all being here tonight. Since we have no executive session, no action on those items, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Nichols, second by trustee Valdez. We have motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.